Hi, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Curtis. My name is Paul Stetler, and today we are continuing our oral history of the Phantasmagorias. And when I say Phantasmagorias, I really mean it this time because my guest is V. Joy Lee, the only actress who appeared in both Phantasmagoria 1 and Phantasmagoria 2. V. Joy is an actor who lived in Seattle for many, many years. She's originally from Atlanta, Georgia. And she was kind enough to sit down with me today and talk about what she remembers making both those games. Not much, like most of the other actors, but it was a real fun time talking to her, and I think you'll get a kick out of it. But before I do, I just, as always, would like to just ask you to please like and subscribe and follow and join and all those things, those social media things right up there. The more people we can get to join us, the more we can help spread the word so that people find out about Conversations with Curtis and we can grow our base. But in the meantime, please enjoy my interview with Harriet and the Rat Girl, otherwise known as V. Joy Lee. All right, so let's do this thing. All right. V. Joy Lee, welcome to Conversations with Curtis.
Thank you. This is great.
It's so good to see you. I can't remember. I mean, I don't remember the last time we saw each other. Do you?
No, not at all. No. Like 2000s, maybe, perhaps. Yeah.
Absolutely. I think that we ran into each other at theater events all the time. I think that was one of the things. We go to opening nights because we all got free tickets and we would see each other in the lobby somewhere and kind of say hello. But it's been a long time and it's really great to see you.
Yeah, really.
So what's been going on over the last 25 years? Anything new?
Well, I did theater for a long time after I did Phantasmagorias until 2009 was my last theater gig in Giant at Book It Theater.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And I was at the same time sort of working in video stores, which sort of became I'm a huge movie buff, so it became this real perfect fit for me.
I remember that. Did you work on the video store in Fremont? Was there one? There was like a cool video store there.
I didn't work in that one. That was Video Aisle, but
okay.
I worked at, there were 3 island videos. It was
okay.
There was one in Laurelhurst and Greenwood, and then he bought the Madison Park video store that used to just be Madison Park Video, and he named them all Island Video. So I worked at all 3 of those.
Okay.
They all closed.
Right.
And that was just really a wonderful thing for me. I mean, I just know all this trivia,
I'll bet.
It was so fun to talk about movies all day long.
Oh, for sure. Well, maybe we can talk a little movies later on, but I'm going to, this is what I actually just spoke with Steve Bailey, who played your son, Cyrus, in this, had a great talk with him. Steve and I were friends back in the 90s. And so we had actually done a couple of projects. And so I hadn't talked to him in, 15 years probably. So, and I've been watching and playing these games for the first time. So I'm seeing your work and it's so much fun. And I'm going to do to you what I did to him and make you watch some of the footage. And he showed, he actually had some photographs that he had in a photo album that I'll share with you as well.
Okay. Yeah.
And, but first, just to get to know you a little bit and for the fans to get to know you, I've prepared a list of 20 questions. And these are just meant to be, it's kind of a fun, I'm not going to time or anything. I usually try to do this like in 5 minutes, but the idea is to not get it too deep, but I'm just going to throw a bunch of questions your way. And then you just give me a quick answer and then we'll keep moving forward. So we'll talk more in depth in a little bit, but right now it'll just be kind of a fun snapshot of hopefully we get to know you, who you are. So are you ready?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Right. Where did you grow up?
In South Georgia.
South Georgia. What was the name of your neighborhood?
Just Third Street Southeast.
Third Street Southeast. All right. Who are your parents?
Hassie Hallman Trimble Jr. and Virginia Merle Bryant Trimble.
Those are the greatest names ever.
Very Southern.
Oh my goodness, that's great. What did your parents do?
My father was an osteopathic physician, and my mother was a homemaker.
Okay, great. Do you have siblings, or did you have siblings growing up?
Yes, I did. I had a sister named Jan.
Jan, okay. And did you get along as kids?
We sort of did. Yeah, there was a 3-year difference in us, so we weren't real close in age. So
Right. It usually takes till you get into your adulthood before you can connect again, right? Where did you go to elementary school?
Central Elementary School.
What were you like as a kid?
I was a very outgoing, very talkative kid. They couldn't shut me up.
Thus the drama. Name one of your childhood obsessions.
Well, it was TV completely. Yeah, the television. I was really into everything on television.
Yeah, that sounds familiar to me too. This is a more generic question, and it's probably a longer answer, but how did you survive middle school or junior high school, probably back then?
With friends and watching a lot of television.
That's great. What was the first book that you read that blew your mind?
Well, my favorite book, I still is To Kill a Mockingbird. So that's still, it's just right up there, I would have to say. Yeah.
I remember that's the first book that I was in 8th grade, and I didn't read it for class. I think my dad had it, or it was on the shelf, and I picked it up and read it. And that was the first book that made me go, oh my God, this is what a book can do. I mean, that you would put it down and it never left your head. You couldn't wait to get back to it. My son's going to be in 8th grade next year, so I'm hoping to have him have that same experience with it.
Sure.
What was the first movie you saw in a movie theater that blew your mind?
Ooh, I was a big Saturday afternoon matinee kind of person. Gosh, let me think. One that became completely my favorite movie forever and ever, way back from the early 60s, was Mysterious Island. Jules Verne, Mysterious Island. Ray Harryhausen monsters and just creatures, and I have to say that one.
Oh, that's great. I don't know it. Does it hold up? Do you watch? Have you seen it?
It does. It's a lot of fun. Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Excellent. I love it. Where did you go to high school?
It was Moultrie High School.
Is this?
It was Moultrie, and that was Moultrie High School.
And what was the major city that you were closest to?
Yeah, so major city, Albany, Georgia, which was also an Army base, so it was a fairly large, because I grew up in a very, 18,000 people.
Gotcha.
Town, so.
Gotcha. Were you popular in high school?
No.
Thus the television, do you remember, or did you ever play did video arcade games ever make it into your world? Never. That was later.
Yeah.
What was the first computer you ever owned?
Laser 128. That actually was my husband's. It was not mine. It was the first one he bought. So that was gosh, so long ago. I had worked on some in a job I was at. I was PC, I can't remember, IBM PC. Yeah. So I had worked on those at work, but I guess
that's great. Okay, that's good that you remember it. I can't remember mine. I'm impressed. What was the first music concert you went to?
Well, growing up, they used to bring in musical groups to a small town close to me. I saw Peter Nero, who's a pianist, I guess that would have been, in high school, probably.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay, great. Did you end up going to college?
yes, I did.
Where did you go?
I went to Agnes Scott College in Decatur, Georgia, which is actually Atlanta. It's just a suburb of Atlanta. Yeah.
And what was your major?
History.
History.
And I dabbled in theater. I thought about majoring in it, but I didn't like the teachers so I was in some plays, but I majored in history.
Gotcha. Were you a good student?
Yeah, well, I was average. It's a women's college. It's very small. It's like 600 people was all it was when I was there. So.
Gotcha. Okay, we're coming down just to our last couple. These are questions, and then we'll just get a chance to chat a little bit. Give me a quick rundown of all the jobs you had right out of college.
Wow. Let's see. A lot of receptionist jobs. That's what I'm remembering. A lot of receptionist jobs. Yeah. So, and I did that for a long time, actually.
Yeah.
And then I ended up doing some administrative, so it was administrative things. I was personnel in the personnel department of the university.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I did a lot of that stuff too. I temped all the time and did all the picking up the phones and stuff. Exactly. All right. Last two. What was the last to-do item that you checked off of your work list?
My work list meaning.
Well, yeah, I guess are you working these days? Or are you doing anything
I am,
projects that you are, that are.
I just started a new job. It's just a summer job, seasonal job as a peer agent for the cruise lines.
Oh, fantastic.
People back from cruises and saying, hope you have a wonderful cruise. That sort of thing.
So there you go. You check that off. You got to say hello to people and say welcome back.
I get to say hello. Hi.
Okay, good. And what's the last to-do item that you checked off of your home list?
It was vacuuming.
Hey, that's the second person. I think Steve Bailey just said the same thing about vacuuming. That's great. All right, so that ends our 20 questions. Thank you so much for that. So what brought you to Seattle?
Theater, actually. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, tell me give me a little rundown of how we went from, history major in college to kind of dabbling in theater to ultimately taking.
So then after college, I jumped into working in community theater around Atlanta. I did a lot of community theater, just whatever was available. And then Eddie was, of course, working in Atlanta and had been, a fairly well-known figure in Atlanta theater circles. And he cast me in a play that he was started his own theater. And he cast me in the second production, which was Women Behind Bars.
Oh.
And so that was kind of a step up from community theater, though it was still sort of that, but it wasn't really, so, and then we worked together. And
how did you and Eddie meet? Because I guess we should talk a little bit. Eddie is your husband, been together for a long time. He ran a theater here in Seattle called Empty Space for many years. And I've known you two together for a long time. So how did you guys meet?
So that's where we met. He cast me, and he was married to somebody else, and so was I. And he started this theater. It was around for about 3 or 4 years, I guess. And then he was hired to actually run a theater in Atlanta called the Theatrical Outfit. But both of our marriages had broken up, and that's when we started dating, got together, and I worked at Theatrical Outfit with him. And then we were trying to decide for when to stay in Atlanta, and we looked around and heard about Seattle and heard about the theater scene here in Seattle from a friend, John Klein, who was a playwright. And we came out to visit and fell in love with it and just moved. We didn't really know that many people. We knew, maybe a handful. And we just picked up and moved. And after he was here a couple of years, we moved in 91, 93, he was offered the position as artistic director at Empty Space Theater.
In just a couple of years, just by being.
A couple of years after we had been here, yeah.
Wow. And so where did you first move when you came here? Was it sight unseen? Did you come out and visit at all?
We came out to visit. He actually got a grant to come out and study through Theater Communications Group to study about crossover audiences and how to bring that back to Atlanta. But it was sort of it was like a test, and we're coming out to see what Seattle is like. So we were here a couple of weeks, loved it immediately. But yeah, it was just sort of picking up and driving across country and, going, okay, here we are. Let's see what happens.
Wow. Yeah. I had the same kind, I hadn't been in I was just getting out of graduate school and not knowing where to go. And, and so same thing where I didn't think I wanted to do one of the major cities right away. I didn't have enough experience and I didn't have an agent. And so the idea was like maybe Chicago, and then Seattle kind of kept, this is like 92. You were like around the same time, I guess, right?
We came.
Yeah. And so I just kept hearing this was like it really was back then. It was the theater town. There was so much going on.
Yes, it was.
And so yeah, I came here sight unseen with my girlfriend out of graduate school. We found an apartment in First Hill, this horrible place that, didn't know what, we're living off of what's left of our student loans, and just took the leap. And just as like you, we just fell in love with the town.
It helped that we actually landed a place on Alki right across from the Sound.
Oh, wow.
We rented a place. I mean, it was a duplex. The top had burned, so we were the only we were in the bottom. It was just us and the road, and then the Sound, and we were there a couple of years.
Oh, that's a great start. Yeah,
it was just a great start. I mean, there would have, it couldn't have been any better. Sure.
Cool. So this is so Eddie gets the job in 93. You start going out to auditions and doing, are you planning to, is your job at that point focused solely on theater, or were you?
Well, I was doing temp work too, like you were saying. I did temp work in between plays, and I was thinking about trying to do some movie or TV things, because there were, Northern Exposure was around back then. Of course,
right.
Everybody ended up in Northern Exposure, and I actually did get hired in Northern Exposure, but my scene was cut. So, and we were actually Eddie was cast also in the same episode. So he ended up with his scene. He had one word. I actually had like a nice little scene, but it ended up being cut. So.
That's the story of my Hollywood career. I've been cut out of I've had all these 4 or 5 lines, and they almost all got cut down to like one line or no lines,
Yeah. So I was completely, so after that, I was just like, and then, then of course, Phantasmagoria came along in the mid 90s. So,
yeah, well, that's what we're heading towards. That's great. So tell me, if you can, what you remember about, you're one of the, no, that's not true. You are the only actor who appeared in both. And, and for whatever reason, they made if that series continued, their whole idea was there were always going to be separate stories under the umbrella of the name Phantasmagoria. So there would always be disconnected stories. I always thought it would have been fun had there been a little bit more overlapping, but you were the overlap. And so you did the first one. So can you tell me what you remember about the audition? How did you hear about this? How did that all go down?
So I didn't really audition because Roberta and Ken came to see A Kiss of Blood at Empty Space that I was in, which was the Poe Tales. We did House of Usher and Fall of the House of Usher, and I forget the other one, but Fall of the House of Usher, I played a crazy servant, deformed, sort of, just, very weird character. And after it was over, Roberta said, "Oh, she would be great in our Phantasmagoria." So that was really my audition, was the play.
Isn't that great when work can get you work?
Yeah.
That's the best, when somebody sees you in something, as opposed to you having to go jump through all the hoops of auditioning and everything.
Right. Yes, that was amazing to me.
So did you not know them and they reached out to you, or did you have
No, I did not know who they were or anything about them. I was not a gamer or, anything. So no, it was totally.
So what did they tell you, and what was your take on this new form of entertainment that,
totally fun. It was, if one thing, they were going to fly me down to Fresno, which is, and then I was going to rent a car and drive close to Yosemite to film this. So that was like, I will do that, sure. That sounds like a bunch of fun, and it was, we were in a lovely resort down there. It was, in the woods, and it was, a terrific experience.
Oh, that's great. That's great. What do you remember about Harriet?
Oh, Harriet. I remember that she was a bunch of fun to play. I felt, in some ways that I was a little young for it, that Stephen didn't look like he was that much of a difference in age, from me. But it was just a hoot. It was just very fun, and I remember there is some picture somewhere, and I thought I had it, that was of me after I'd been scalped, and I'm smiling,
I think I might be able to share that with you. This is probably a perfect time to share some photos with you. Steve had a bunch, and I talked to him a couple of weeks ago, and I've been watching. So just so you know, like yourself, I'm not a gamer and had never played any of these games before. And then after doing this series, it just made sense and to play some of this. I said, that's funny. Yeah. I said series and, oh, for goodness sakes. I said series, and the series showed up. So yeah, I've been playing these games for the first time, and I know you're not a gamer, so you probably never played them. And when you watch, I'm going to make you watch some of the footage. And anytime I've watched the footage, out of context, it's pretty hokey. It's pretty, it's not, it's not Chekhov, right? But when you play the game, you really do get caught up in the world that Roberta created, and just it's immersive, and it's really quite wonderful and fun, and you guys just do such a great job in it, and it's really neat. So let me, if I can. Hey everyone, I hope you're enjoying this interview. We'll get back to it in just a minute. But before we do, I want to take this moment to say the only reason we're able to watch this right now is because of the generous support of my Patreon members. And the only way I can do my next interview is the generous support of my Patreon members. I would like you to be one of my generous Patreon members so that we can continue to do these interviews. My hope is to do one of these a week, and maybe eventually even two of these a week. And we can cover more and more of these incredible artists who have created so many of your favorite games. So before we get back to the interview, just hop on Patreon real quick and sign up. Now go ahead, I'll wait. Patreon.com. Yeah, all good? Great. Now back to my interview. There we go. All right, so can you see that photo right there?
Yes.
All right, so this is the world that you are in. It's certainly not the world that we watch when we're playing the game. But was this your first time ever working in a blue screen environment?
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah. And last.
Yeah, right. And so what do you remember about the set and about...
Gosh. I don't remember a lot, I'm afraid, but I just remember that the whole experience was fun,
Yeah, yeah.
and
So,
very different, than anything I had done before. So
what was the point of the? Do you remember why the red beanie?
I don't, they were just going for a homeless look, and that was what they came up with, so I know, I don't, but now seeing it years later, you
So this
know,
next photo is part of Steve's. He just sent me a picture of his photo book. So there's a whole bunch of things here. We'll zoom in on a few of these,
yeah,
but then see if you can. So that's you and Steve during the
yes,
séance, right?
yes, right, okay,
Uh, that's Tori who played the main.
right,
And now Tori and I reached out to her. I'd never met her before. She had never
right,
played the game, and
yeah,
so we she and I have actually been playing Phantasmagoria, and so it's been very fun, um,
good,
you know, stumbling our way through the game and having her watch it for the very first time, and so it's pretty great.
that's cool.
Yeah. Okay, and then let's see. There's that. That was Tori and Don, the actor who played Don. There's Roberta Williams.
Yep, yep,
Yeah. There's some of the crew and such.
yeah, right.
There's Tori. Oh, there you are.
Oh, that's the picture.
Yeah, I have
That's
a
what I,
better shot of that, so I'm gonna. And there you are
yeah,
again. So let me get to the next photo here, and then there's you and
yeah.
Tori, and so it didn't look like you were having any fun at all.
No, 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 of course not.
Now, were you only aware of what was happening in your scenes, or had you remember getting the whole script and
I,
what the story was about and such?
yeah, I think I remember, some other scenes that weren't just me, I watched, because I watched some of her filming, I think.
Okay. Do
So,
you remember how thick the script was?
no, I
Oh,
don't.
yeah, those scripts, the one that I had was probably 400 pages because so much of it has to do with, all
Yes,
the different scenarios that come out of,
right.
the gamer's decisions and such. So,
Yeah.
let's see, we got a few more here. I'll scoot in here. So it's just a bunch of stuff with you and Steve. Seemed like you guys had a pretty good. You're certainly a lot of fun to watch together on the
Oh,
screen
good.
here. But you're supposedly outside camping and clearly just on a
Right,
blue floor. The cat.
right. Yeah.
It looks like, and you got like all the.
It's so interesting. He kept all these. That's great.
Yeah, he was afraid to try to take them out of the plastic because it takes the
Yes.
just those things were not very well thought out in the back in the. There you
No,
guys
no.
are again. Oh, and then here's the one. So tell me about this.
That was just so much fun. I have to say, it really was. And I tell people about it, and they go, "Oh, but that was great." That was the way she was killed. I was just, I don't know. It was just a fun filming. That was just fun. It
That sounds
was.
great. I haven't seen your death yet, so I don't want to know too much. I know that everybody dies pretty much, except, but yeah,
Yeah.
Roberta certainly had quite the macabre imagination.
Yes. Oh, yes. Yeah. And part of it, I think, because my death in Fall of the House of Usher, my neck is broken, and that was probably also part of, well, we have to get her in here because she
Right.
doesn't have her neck broken.
Yeah, you had some experience with some grisly deaths, right?
Yes.
Um, let's see. Is there any more here is
Yeah.
different? Here's a couple more here. Oh, and then this is funny. I thought that was great. This must be at some local bar or something that you were.
That's so, yeah, I don't remember that, but yeah, that's what it looks
Oh,
like.
that's great. So that's that. Yeah, and now I think what I'd love to do, if you don't mind, is share with you a couple of scenes and just what we can do is because that one picture of you sort of sitting in the hole is, they were trying to mime that you're stuck in an upper sort of
right in the barn.
In the barn.
Yes,
and so we'll watch that scene, and then we can stop at any point. So feel free if something, stirs your memory. We can just stop along the way. Let me set this up again one more time.
Okay.
So this is you. We just met your son Cyrus.
Right.
He has made Adrian come into the barn because you are stuck. So this is your introduction. Okay, so there you are, and then she goes to get the little hook to help get you out.
Right.
Oh, hurry. Get it. Let me out. Oh.
It's the first laugh in the whole game here.
Oh, hey. Watch where you put that thing. Listen, you old windbag. How about I just leave? No. I'll shut up. Whatever you want.
I'll shut up. And so that's your introduction, and then I have you and then we're gonna watch your seance. That's what everybody loves the most. So that's 223. Tell me if you can hear. Okay.
I don't hear.
Ma, she's here.
Okay.
The grand entrance. Here we go.
Welcome, oh seeker of the spirit world.
Hello, Harriet.
Please have a seat.
Can you turn it up a little?
Yeah, sure can.
Let the seance begin.
Your theatricality is showing.
Oh, elusive spirits of the netherworld, heed us now. Talk to us, oh shades of darkness. Give us a gleam of your essence.
I love that
Give
moment
us
of
a
you and Steve just
sign of your spiritual
smacking him. Look at that. Look,
Think they're biting.
think they're biting, you said.
Oh, restless souls, this
So do you remember, was there any, I mean, again, this is, no worries if you can't, but were you able to play around with the script, or was this all in the...
Trying to remember if that was all in the script, because that was pretty funny.
That was pretty funny, yeah. That's good.
gal seeks answers to questions unknown. You just got to...
I love it. I love it. Now we gotta talk. You have to remember this, right? The goo.
Yes, I think I do. Yes, I do.
So here you can tell it's kind of animated, but then we see you in a second, and we can see that there's something truly that they had to, they concoct to put into your mouth here. So at this point, the evil Carnovash, he shows up out of the goo.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
So at this point, he says, I'm the evil spirit, you're the chosen one, and I shouldn't have murdered all these people. And so all that comes out of your mouth here.
Yeah.
And this is great.
Oh. What happened? Where's Cyrus?
You don't know?
No what?
Harriet, you did it. You really did it.
You're not pulling my leg now, are you?
No, I wouldn't do that.
That's never happened before. Hot diggity! Oh, Cyrus! Cyrus! I did it! I really did it!
There There you go. You did it all right.
I think we had a good director too, if I recall. That would just encouraged. Whatever. Would say try something. So.
Yeah, he was. Was he from? I think he was not from the U.S. If I recall. He might have, yeah, from France or something.
I think so. Yeah. So.
That's great.
Oh, that was so fun.
Now, when you were in, did Eddie join you at all when you were, it was just you? Yeah.
And if I can tell you a little tidbit.
Please. That's why we're
whole
here.
time we filmed, well, I don't know, it was the second night or something that I got there. O.J. Simpson was driving around in the white Bronco. And Eddie was watching it here in Seattle, and I was watching it down there. And we were talking back and forth on the phone about what is happening? What is this? That's the main memory I have.
Yeah, well, you can't forget that. That was one of the craziest things.
So now I know exactly when that was.
Yeah.
When I was driving around in the white Bronco. So, it was.
Now, did you get a chance to go to Yosemite while you were there? Did you do any, or were you too busy working?
I went in briefly. We didn't have a lot of time, and I remember going in and not seeing a lot of the park, but I drove in and, parked and walked around, and but so yeah, I did get to do that, and that was really cool. It really was. It was like a little mini vacation besides.
Those are the best. Those are the best. So then that was 1995 or 94, 95. And then Phantasmagoria 2 comes along. How did that come about?
I think it was just the connection, because it was Roberta again, so I was, being this also as a crazy person.
You got to just double crazy. You got to crazy it up. Well, it seems like there were moments. I do you remember? Was it always meant to be as a small sort of cameo part, or was it? What do you remember about?
I don't remember actually that. She just asked me to be in it, and
was your character actually named the Rat Girl? That's what everybody seems to call her because she.
I don't remember that, so I don't know, actually.
Well, I think it's because she talks about, I guess in the script there's a lot of rat references, and Curtis owns a rat and all that. So,
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I've got some footage for you to watch of that too.
Cool.
And there's not too much, but there's one moment that that you really just enjoy. You just relish going there, and it's fun. So this is the very opening sequence of the game,
Right.
and it's before the credits, and it's Curtis being wheeled in a straitjacket towards the electroshock room, and so he's hallucinating. And let me find this moment for you here. Let's get to the beginning of Phantasmagoria 2. You just have a brief second, but a very memorable brief second here.
He's having a severe psychotic episode. Keep your hands away from his mouth. Real potential for violence. Watch him. Freak!
And there you go. That was your debut for Phantasmagoria 2. I remember this was near the end of the shoot because we did all of our initial photography in the sound stage with the sets that they had built. So it was different than you guys, because we actually got to have a set and everything. But this was, what's the big beautiful building in Capitol? That's not Harbor View. What's the big beautiful building that when you always drive down the freeway?
We called it the Frankenstein Castle. It was Pacific Medical. And
That's it.
Then Amazon bought it. That's right. Then Amazon bought it.
Oh, did they? I didn't know that. I didn't know.
Yeah. So I don't know what it is now, but yeah.
But it's a gorgeous, weird, like you said, super Frankenstein building. Anytime you drive down the freeway, it's just looming in the distance. And so we got a chance to film there for this scene. And I think we actually, I don't know if, I can't remember, but there was wherever the next scene is, which I'll show you. With us. So Curtis has a flashback later on to his time in the mental institution. And so here, let me see, 213, I think is when here we go. So he is, this is his flashback. Look how young this guy is. And then real quickly, we'll see you in the corner here, coming down right here. There you are right there, grabbing your, oh, the rat girl. So you have a rat. You have a pet. So there's that. That's the first moment. And then here's two more little seconds where. So I guess when you click on various patients, they will do and say various kind of things that. So you're 216. So you have to click on that each person.
Monster! I saw you. I saw you when they brought you in. I saw your guts.
So there's that one, and then any memories of this at all?
Oh no.
No, this is such. You had a couple days on the. It was just it must have been just fun getting dressed up. So here's something that I'll jog your memory on this one here.
Abomination, mutant, freak. I curse you with the Black Death. For you, oh vile rat. My vile and filthy blood for you. Drink me. Drink me.
You bit through your carotid artery and started sucking your own blood. That must have been fun.
Of course.
Did you?
Wow.
It was that. So you had played this one. I know. So Empty Space Theater was known for doing very avant-garde, very risky, very non-traditional plays. So they were, a lot of. It had sort of changed throughout the years, but I know that. So you were probably very comfortable in your career playing, playing left of center characters.
I'm sure, yeah, and I had done that also in Atlanta. That was sort of, there were a lot of avant-garde, sort of interesting, characters also I'd played there, so. And it was just a kind of a continuation of oddballs, I guess, that I played. I mean, I didn't play a lot of times just the straight, character in much of anything. I don't recall,
So that was your type. You ended up sort of typed as someone who can come in and do a extreme character and character actress.
Yeah, I did in some of the musicals more refined, I guess, people, in Mandragora I was the widow who I got a lot of makeup and, really fancy clothes and that, but, a lot of times not so much.
Yeah.
So that's why I said the Kiss of the Blood, character was just fun to play,
Yeah, absolutely. So you said your last play was in 2009. Was that on purpose or what was why are you?
Just kind of went, well, that's sort of it, and then we moved actually back to Atlanta, the next year. And I just didn't kind of feel the fire anymore, much of being on stage, and just sort of went. And it had been a little while, even before I did Giant, that I had done, so I can't recall what was right before it. But they called me in to audition, and kind of were looking at me for the part.
Yeah.
So I said, sure,
So since then and now, is there ever a itch to get back, or you feel like you're just done?
Yeah, I'm kind of done, really never have felt the urge to get back to it,
It's different, isn't it? It's not the same. We're different. I think
Yeah.
it's hard to. I've always said that. Regional theater has forced, professional artists into hobbyism. We just because it doesn't, the funding's dried up. No one's, you never made much back in the day, but you're making less now, and the inflation's way worse, and so you really can't make your living doing it, and especially if you want to have a life. I mean, after a while, giving up all your weekends and all your nights, that takes a lot out of you.
It's true. Yeah, as you get older, and I've found my friends that are around my age are beginning to feel like they don't really even want to go see theater that much. We're kind of in that boat also.
Yeah.
I've been there, done that, and so it's helps, and that's kind of odd, but that's what happens, I guess, as you get older. So.
Well, tell me what you're up to now. So you said you're working. You started a new job. Are you? Tell me. What's life like these days, Joy?
Well, since we just moved in October here, it's still very new. It's getting used to.
So you've come back to see. You've come back to the Northwest. Yeah.
It's like, yay, we're back, and now we get to enjoy it. Because it really did feel being in Everett was not that far away, but you're still in Everett. You're far. And I didn't ever feel like an Everite. I always wanted to be a Seattleite, so
Right.
just back here and I think we spent 4 more years than we should have there. After 4 years, we were still trying to figure it out, to come back here. So now that we're here, it just all feels very, getting used to it again, getting familiar with everything, and just sort of enjoying being back in Seattle. And the first summer we'll be back, in Seattle, and just sort of with everything. And the job is very new too, so all of that is, what I'm just getting used to everything.
Yeah.
So, other than that, I'm not sure.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
just kind of.
Have you had a chance to reconnect with some old friends now that you're closer? And
Yeah, we didn't really ever disconnect, but it was just harder to see them on
Right.
a regular basis. Now
Right.
that we're here, yeah, it's a lot easier
Okay.
to see people, so that's pretty great.
Yeah.
I enjoy that so much. So, and can I ask where you live?
yeah, I'm a shoreline, so I'm just a little bit north. Yeah, literally, like there's Seattle, and then we're like 2 feet over there. So it's probably on a good day, it takes me 12 minutes to get downtown to Seattle. On a bad day, it's probably 45 minutes based on the traffic and stuff. But yeah, it's a nice area. It's good. I'm a suburban dad, for the most part. I got 2 young kids, and started this project, and I have, I dabble. I did a show. I did my first play in 4 years at Act Theater just a few months ago, and that was a co-production with the Marin Theater Company down in Northern California. So that was fun to be able to jump back in. I don't do theater
Yeah.
as a position anymore. I have a couple of jobs that don't really allow me to do that. And I'm kind of like you. I just don't. If I can do a play a year or play every couple of years, that's fun. But that world of always trying to get the next job and waiting for someone to say yes and cast you, that just got old after a while, So
Yes. Yeah,
so it's nice to be able to kind of write your own ticket and come up with your own projects and stuff.
definitely. Yeah. And how are you playing Phantasmagoria? Because they're on discs.
They were on discs, so now the world has opened up, Joy. It's so you can play it on your computer. There's a couple of I guess hubs or platforms called Steam and GOG, which stands for Good Old Games, and you can go on there, and then they allow you to purchase the game, and then you can just play it now on your computer. And so if you actually if you're interested in playing the game just for fun, it's a fairly easy thing to download, and I'm sure we can set you up. I'm sure if people found that you were interested, I'm sure people would come out of the woodworks and try to help get the game to you so that you could play it. but yeah, it's found this. I mean, I'll say to you, because you probably haven't heard this before, but this journey has surprised me at every junction. I did that game. It was a good gig as an actor. And then I forgot about it because it wasn't the world that I lived in, and it didn't really take my career in any specific direction. So having come out and deciding to do these interviews and to talk to people and to play the games, I'm getting comments from people, regularly from all over the world, who have played both Phantas 1 and Phantas 2, and that it has had a profound effect on them. A lot of these people, they found it when they were teenagers. A lot of them had, the one thing about Phantasmagoria 2 is that it deals very, it deals with otherness, your sexuality, not so much preference, but homosexuality, bisexuality. It deals with people who have alternate lifestyles, and it does it in a way that doesn't make fun of it. It actually embraces it. And I think many people have come to me saying that this was the first time they'd ever had that positive experience of it. Same thing with Phantas 1, where it's a haunted house story, but people found solace in playing these games when they were younger and impressionable, when they weren't feeling, able to cope with the world, at that point in their lives. And people have really come out and just said that these games mean so much to them, which I never would have expected. So we were a part of something that has had a lasting effect in a more positive way than I think either of us could have imagined. And so it just goes to show that you never know what you're going to do that can actually.
I know. And it's a shame that it was way too expensive to have,
to keep that going.
5 actors. In,
And apparently there are indie gamers out now that are taking advantage of how easy it is to film with your, right now, high quality video is a pretty easy thing to come by. And so people are making some very interesting new FMV games that are kind of coming out of this. So I think we were pioneers in a way, and people are taking that and making new stuff out of it.
And Roberta and Ken, I don't know.
Well, my understanding is Sierra Online ultimately, I don't know what happened, but it kind of ultimately ended, and they sold it off. I don't know if it was, I think there was some drama in there. And then they basically took off and traveled around the world and just enjoyed their retirement. And then just this last year, they have announced that they are going to make their first video game in like 25, 30 years. And they're starting to do some of the interview circuits. I'm trying to reach out to them. I never got to know either of them because neither of them were directly involved with the second Phantas. But they talk very fondly. I think Roberta's she talks very fondly of Phantasmagoria. She thinks of that as one of her favorite pieces that she did. And so it would be fun to, I think after all this is said and done, it would be fun to like have a Zoom party and see if we can get some of the Phantasmagoria people together, just to all meet and have a little, and see if Ken and Roberta. Did you ever keep in touch with them?
I didn't. After that, no, I didn't.
Okay.
So I had wondered what had happened to them.
Right.
So,
No, they're doing well, and they're about to come back into the game. They're gonna by making one. So. Well, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I'm going to just ask you a couple, my ending of our interview questions. It'll be like those first ones. But before we do, you say that you're a movie buff, and I love that because I used to be much more of one than I am now. But I know that our fans would love to know if it's not putting you in pressure. Do you have like a a top five? Do you have is there a genre that you love the most? What can you tell us a little bit about some of your favorite films and what got you into it?
Wow. Well, what got me into it is when I was watching television growing up, I would remember actors, I would remember information about them, and it's all kind of in my brain. It's all that trivia, and then of course expanded to movies. So a top five, it changes a lot.
Yeah, mine too.
And I'm trying to think right off if I can solidify down to five. Of course, as I mentioned, To Kill a Mockingbird.
The movie version, yeah.
And I actually have a picture of me and Gregory Peck because he did a one-man show, and I got his autograph on my cassette of To Kill a Mockingbird. So I have a picture of me with him.
Oh, I'd love to see that.
Before he died, he was doing a one-man show touring around, and I would say also, this is hard. It really is. I'm trying to think because we own a lot of movies.
Is there a particular era that you love the most? Those old.
Kind of. It's all over the place, and I love foreign films, and I love, I also love some thrillers and comedies if they're really good.
Yeah.
So that's hard to say.
The funniest comedy I've seen, it's probably 5 years ago now, but did you ever see The Death of Stalin?
We did. That was great.
I thought that was one of the funniest.
Really terrific.
Yeah.
And the same director did a movie called In the Loop.
Yeah.
Which also really terrific.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking of foreign films. One of my favorites, Wings of Desire.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Beautiful movie. Hey, did you see, I just watched recently Drive My Car, which just came out last, have you had a chance to see that yet?
Oh, I tried.
You tried?
Because it's 3 hours long.
Yeah, no, it took me 3 days. I did it in chunks.
We got through a certain point and then went, I don't know. And then I've heard that we should continue on.
Oh, it's a meditative, you really have to just allow it to just take its time. Yeah, it's not for everybody for sure, but it does.
But I have an animation, wonderful animation. It's on Netflix called Arcane. If you don't know it, it's French animation studio. It took them 6 years to put this together. It's like steampunk kind of look. It's got the most wonderful animation, beautiful, gorgeous scenes. About two sisters, upper world is where the rich live and they live in the bottom, and they are trying, of course, to get there. And it's a terrific story. Really, really wonderful. We just saw that recently.
Oh, fantastic. That sounds great. Oh, wonderful. Okay.
Actually, it's episodic. It's not just a movie. It's
What was the last movie that you watched?
We just watched. I always do this.
I know.
It's terrible because we watch and then we'll watch TV shows, and I can never remember, what is a TV show or a movie.
Yeah, I know. I think they're kind of interchangeable sometimes at this point because you.
Yes. So we're in the middle of Hacks, which is on the second season.
That's fun. That's a really fun one. All right, I've got 5 questions for you, and then I'm going to let you get on with the rest of your day. Okay, here we go. These are hard-boiled questions, so you have to. Here we go. What is your favorite type of foreign food?
Mexican.
Mexican. What kitchen appliance do you use every day?
My espresso machine.
Are you a clean or messy person?
Oh, clean. I'm definitely.
Are you a morning person or a night owl?
Oh, I used to be a night owl. I think I still am, but I'm having to work mornings with a new job, so it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, sorry about that. And then is your last 3, is your glass half full or half empty?
Half full. Yeah.
What is your proudest accomplishment?
Getting to my age, I think.
It's all bonus from here, isn't it? I feel like that, all the time. I'm like, I'll take as much as I can get, but that we got here, that's pretty like that.
far.
And then my final question is, what's next?
Gosh, I wish I knew. You know, I don't know. I don't know. I'm open for, you know, whatever. You know, still trying to figure that out.
Yeah, well, that's the point, right? We got to just keep figuring that out. Okay, so Joy, before I let you go,
Yes.
there was in the script, Lorelei had written was called the Rat Woman's Prayer that never got filmed. And what's supposed to happen is that there should have been numerous times that you could click on your character in the mental asylum. And for whatever reason, they didn't film this, or they did film it, and they ultimately didn't put it into the actual game. So I thought it would be fun to have you read, for once and for all, the Rat Woman's Prayer. Are you open to giving it a try?
Yes.
Okay, so give me a second. I'm going to give you a solo shot here, and whenever you are ready.
O most depraved and filthy rat, God of the flea, God of the plague, God of pus and pestilence and puke, hear thy disease-ridden servant. Bring the pain, bring the stench, bring back the black vomit and shuddering death. Bring down the plague, O rat unclean. Bring down the plague on us all.
That is awesome. That's so great. Oh, thank you for doing that. That's wonderful. Joy, thank you so much for doing this.
Right, Paul.
It's-
Gosh,
it's a-
just came out of the blue and never would have expected anything.
Well, you've made a big impact on a lot of people, and they're going to just be thrilled to see this. All right, Joe, well, have a great rest of your day. Please say hi to Eddie for me. And
Okay.
all right. You're
I
welcome.
hope to see you soon.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, well, that was my interview with actress V. Joy Lee, who played Harriet in Phantasmagoria 1 and the Rat Girl in Phantasmagoria 2. What a delightful person. Really fun talking to her. Thank you all so much for joining. Really appreciate it as we continue our oral history project of these FMV games from the 1990s, the Phantasmagorias and others. Please, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter and join our Discord channel and all those things that are flashing up there. And more than anything, I would love your support on Patreon. It's because of our Patreon members that we are able to provide these wonderful interviews and the live stream games that we've been playing. And I've said this before, and I'll just say it again, that Patreon is like the ocean. It just comes and goes, and we get people coming in, and then we get people going out. And for us to keep going, we need more people to come in. And so now would be a great time to hop on Patreon for a little while and help us out. You can join for just as little as $3 a month, and you can stay for as long as you like or opt out after a couple months. But we certainly could use your support. I think that's it. So until next time, thank you for everything, and have a great day. All right.